So in this video, we're going to look at a couple of extended examples of how to explore business questions. So let's say that you present your initial analysis and the client comes back and says, do free games have different ratings than paid games? So let's start off by looking at price. And so here we see the unique values of price. We're going to go ahead and round the prices, okay, just to make them simpler. And now we're going to do a plot. And here we see that virtually all of the games are free. A very small number are paid. And the ones that are paid, most of them are $1, $2, $3, and then $4 and $5. And then we have some things that are very, very expensive, $10, $12, even out here, $140. Okay, so we're going to now just create a single column that indicates whether a game is free or paid. So here is the column down here on the right side. And this is a standard thing to do in analysis, right? Which is to create a new column with a derived value, which just makes all of the coding easier. Now we do a box plot, and we see that paid and free are approximately the same. But you see that there's no median value here. There's no line for free. And so that means that it's either the same as the 75% quartile, which would be very good for free games, or it's the same as the 25% quartile, which means that it would be very bad for games. And so how do we get the actual numbers? Well, we can use this wonderful number here, where we can group by that price that we just create, okay, and then extract average user rating and then run through describe. And so what we see here, free versus paid, number one is many more free than there are paid. The means are almost identical, but the median, as you can see in free, is higher than it is for paid. So that means that the median is up here, right, 4.5, right, 4.5. That's why you don't see a median line, because it's the same as the 75% line. Okay, and so it looks like it has the edge. The free games have the edge. Here's another extended example. Are highly rated strategy games monolingual or multilingual, paid or free? So now we're going to do a two-variable extended analysis. And this time, since we've been adding a whole bunch of columns, we're just going to start fresh and reload the data set. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up columns. So this is a very standard thing to do. So what we're doing here is that we're replacing spaces with underbars so that we don't have any problems when we're typing in the column names. And then we're also lowercasing everything. So if you look at the titles here, something like in-app purchases is now underbars, right? User rating count now has underbars, and everything has been lowercase. That's a very standard thing to do. Okay, then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to set the index to the ID column, right? So now we have this index here, which was just created by Python, but we're going to set it to the ID column, okay, which makes more sense. And so here we have game's head, and you see the ID column is there. Now we're going to get rid of bad data and games that don't have a lot of information. So if the average user rating is null, we're just going to get rid of it. If there aren't a lot of ratings below 30, we're just going to get rid of it. And so we've gotten rid of quite a few games, in fact. Remember that the original number of games was around 17,000. Now we have less than 4,000, around 4,000 games. The final thing we're going to do is that if it doesn't have a language, we're going to assume that it's English. And now finally, we're going to create a new column that indicates whether a game is free or paid. All we do is we check to see if it's 0 or not. And so here's our column that indicates whether it's free or paid here at the end. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create a column that indicates whether or not a game is multilingual. Here it shows us just the number of languages. So like the first game has around 17 languages. The ones that are 0 just have one language, which is typically English. And so here we now have another column that indicates whether or not it's free or monolingual. And then we're going to create a single column that combines the paid, free, and multilingual monolingual. And the reason that we're going to do that is that it makes the coding very easy. Okay? Free monolingual, free multilingual, free monolingual. And that is that we can now create a single group by on price language and then run it through Describe. And then this gives us an enormous amount of information, right? So there are a total of 2,105 games that are free monolingual. Here's their mean rating, and then here's the quartile ratings. And so what do we see here, right? What we see here is that this one and this one, which are both multilingual, have the higher ratings. This one, paid multilingual, it's much better at min. There's some tied here on the 50%, 75%. So overall, it seems like multilingual is clearly better, with maybe a little bit of an edge to paid multilingual.